Hey everyone, Dennis K here with Belize Islands Real Estate. Hope you all are doing well today. Hey, listen, today is January 14th. It's a Sunday, and I'm just going through some emails that have come in over the past 24 hours or so. And one of them looked really interesting as a topic for this month's video, where I kind of peel back the curtains and show you the detailed numbers of what an investment in Belize might look like for you. Now, of course, there's 101 ways to buy property in Belize, and there's all different sorts of reasons why people buy. And so by looking at different options, different scenarios, I think you're going to find something in Belize that works for you. Let me get into the nitty-gritty on this one. So this particular viewer says, "Hi, Dennis. I've been watching your videos, and they are very informative. Thank you." Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate that. We love putting out content on this channel because it gives us an opportunity to really connect with our clients and do more than just put up listings on a website. I like to be able to talk about a listing, talk about a neighborhood, show the pros and cons. So I appreciate you guys watching. She says, "My sister and I will be in Belize in March." That's fantastic. March is a fantastic month to visit Ambergris Caye. And they're looking at a few different resorts with hotel rooms for sale as an investment property. So I'm going to go back to this particular person and ask them exactly which hotel rooms they're looking at. I'm not aware of any resorts right now that are offering hotel rooms for sale on Ambergris Caye. There might be one. In fact, I have one in mind just across the bridge that might have gone for sale yet, but the last I heard, they were still waiting for their titles to come in. Maybe they're doing some pre-sales or pre-agreements on those. I'll check those out. And she says, "I was curious if you recommend any." Well, what I would recommend would really depend on what your personal short-term and long-term goals are. And I like the way you added a little bit more detail for me here. She said she has an equity line of credit for 200,000 Canadian, and she wants to purchase something that she could use a couple weeks out of the year and then leave in a rental pool and pay down the loan, the HELOC loan quickly back to her bank there in Canada. And then she says she likes the idea of not having to worry about any marketing, coordinating management companies, etc. And that's why I'm leaning toward an established resort or hotel. Thanks for any advice. All right, so this is a perfect email, guys. This is just about everything I need to know, except for what are her long-term plans for Belize and this property if she could find one. Right now, she might be in a position where she's going to use it maybe a couple weeks out of the year, but in the future, does she plan on this becoming a primary residence in Belize? Does she want to retire in Belize? So this purchase will end up serving her for many, many years retirement, or does she see herself in the next few years being able to use the property more, perhaps 2, 3, 4 months a year, and be like a home base in Belize that she also rents out when she's not there? But just based on this email, I'm going to assume that after looking around, she thinks that she can find something in Belize, just as she's outlined, and then basically have the property pay for itself over the next, several years. And then she'll be left at the end with this hotel room that produces income for her and that she can use. Now, when we look at investing like this, we need to consider several things. First of all, things like nightly rates, occupancy rates, management fees, all that kind of good stuff, and also the spread. She's borrowing money based on what she can get from her bank. Now, I looked up some information, and let me just kind of pull up some of the slides here. Current HELOC rates in Canada, for example, for a 1 to 4 year fixed rate are anywhere between 5% and 5.84, so almost 6% insured. I'm sure that's what she's looking at. So she's got to figure in a 5 to almost 6% interest rate on the money she's pulling out of her bank in order to invest in Belize. All right, so what are some things that she should be thinking about? Well, first of all, if she borrows 200,000 Canadian at say 5 to 6% interest, that's going to translate into about a $134,000 property in Belize, plus stamp tax and closing cost, or get her right at 149,000 US. Because right now, the spread between the Canadian dollar and the US dollar, I think, is at 0.75. So 149 US is what she'll be in all in. If she just uses her 200,000 Canadian, maybe she has a bit more, not sure, but she's going to be looking for a place that sells for 134,000. Now, I don't know of any places in the entire country of Belize that is in that price point. Certainly not anything that I would purchase. What I'm going to go back and ask this lady is if she can send me any listings that she's found that are in this price point, and so I can check them out. But right now, I am not aware of any. Condos and apartments in Belize are at least starting around the 225 mark, oftentimes going higher. Now, when you look at just what she wants to consider her personal use of the property, her personal use and enjoyment, she said a few weeks a year. Let's just kind of put out a number there of 250 bucks a night times 14 nights equals 3,500 US. So if she just wanted to come down to Belize for 2 weeks, she would spend, let's say, approximately 3,500 US for a pretty nice room. She can get something at the yacht club there, or maybe something at Royal Palm, or maybe even Belizean Shores for about that price. And maybe go up a little bit more if she wants to go to a Cocoa Beach or Las Terrazas, something like that. You'd be looking at, the 350, the 450 range. But let's just say 250 a night. She can get a nice hotel on the beach, beautiful views of the reef for 3,500 US. What she has to consider now is her personal use of the property and what she makes in financial return going to be worth taking that 200,000 Canadian and putting it into one property. So for short term or vacation rentals, uh, basically anywhere on the island, you're looking at approximately 3 to 6% net after paying your HOA fees, your insurance, your utilities, marketing fees, management fees, all that kind of good stuff. And some other realtors watching this might have other opinions on this. If you do, feel free to reach out to me because I'd love to see some actual numbers of an open resort that is fully functioning, that has all the rooms in the rental pool, that is getting anything above this. Personally, in 15 years, I have not seen any condos or apartments or homes in any sort of complex or rental resort that is getting anything more than 3 to 6%. I have seen some Airbnbs, standalone Airbnbs, that are going for, that are netting quite a bit more than this. But those tend to be in very high demand areas. I'm talking like the secret beach Airbnbs. I'm talking about oceanfront on the east side, or Airbnbs in neighborhoods where it hasn't become oversaturated yet. But with Airbnbs, that's not what this particular client's looking for, because they're not looking for a hands-on experience. Now you can hand off the Airbnb experience to someone else and have them manage it for you. But again, you got your management fees, you got your term fees, you got everything else. So we find that Airbnbs that are most successful tend to be ran by the owners themselves. They keep a really close watch on their homes, and they do quite well. But again, if you're going to have a single family home, a nice home, say 3 to 5 bedroom on the beach, you're looking at a pretty significant investment too. A lot more than 134,000. You're looking up in the 7, 8, 900 $1 million range. Another thing to look at, though, is if you were to find something like this, would it be possible to rent long term? That is, to rent to a single lender for 12 months or more. Oftentimes, if we do this, you have consistency of income coming in each month. You don't maybe make as much as you would with an overnight guest, but also long-term renters pay their own utilities. So all you have is your HOA fees and your insurance, and you don't have any marketing fees to worry about. You don't have any management fees. You're just dealing directly with a long-term renter. So you might be able to, kind of look at these two scenarios and see which one may work out better for you. Now, if this particular client is just looking for a financial return, and they just want somewhere to come down to Belize and looking for some way to fund their trips to Belize each year, then I might recommend the next scenario. Uh, Land investment. You hear about me talk about this a lot on my channel. I'm a firm believer in land in Belize as being good both for the buyer and the seller. My buyers come down to Belize. Maybe they're younger, they're not in a position yet to retire or to build, but they have a bit of money. They want to get in on the ground floor. They want to secure their spot in paradise. seller financing is a fantastic way for them to get in the game. Also, for investors, those looking to make some cash return in Belize, I found no better vehicle than vacant land. So let me just kind of run through these numbers, what I would recommend to this particular client. Let's say they found a piece of vacant land in an up and coming area where they can find a property that's undervalued or where the current seller needs to cash out. In other words, the current seller of the property can't offer any financing. They need the money. They need to go off and make other investments, or maybe they have a loan on the property. And so they're willing to sell at or maybe even a bit below market value. So if you can come in with 50,000 cash and pick it up, you got yourself a good deal. Now you're going to add your stamp tax and your closing costs on top of that, which is going to bring you up to about a $55,000 US investment for a nice piece of land. And right now, it doesn't matter. Let's say it doesn't matter where that land is. It could be Habaneros, South Ambergris Caye. It can be Secret Beach, wherever. But it has to be an area that's desirable, has to be a good deal, and it has to be an area that is in somewhat of a demand for new buyers looking to establish themselves in the island and they need financing. So you buy the property today, put the property in your name or the name of your company, however you want to work out your title situation. And when the title comes back from the lands department, right now that's taken about 12 months, 10 to 12 months, put the property back on the market for, let's say, $75,000. Now, why 75? Well, again, you bought it for 50, it's probably worth 60, but you paid cash, you got yourself a good deal. $75,000 offered with some sort of financing in place now makes it very desirable and opens up the pool of buyers to a lot more people than they couldn't afford a $60,000 cash buy. So 75,000 on the market. If that property sells, you use a local agent. Their fees are often 10% of the selling price. So that brings you down to 67.5. So 67.5 minus the 55 you paid for it, you got about 12.5 in upside over the 12 to 18 month hold. Now, again, offer that $75,000 property with seller financing. I always recommend the 10-10-10. It's the easiest financing to offer. It makes sense to people. 10% down, 10% interest for 10 years. The buyer can make additional payments at any time. They can pay off their property at any time. But that's what I recommend my clients go with, 10-10-10. Buyer will make you monthly payments of $892. You times 12, so you got about $10,704 coming in for the year, and you only use 50,000 or 55,000 US of your total available 150,000 US. So now what if you did that 3 times over, and now you got 30,000 a year coming in from your investment? What you have to look at here is crunch the numbers, and you see, oops, hang on a second. Don't allow. Very good. You're making 10% on your money. You're borrowing at 5%. You're making 10%. So you got the 5% spread that you're making. And there's not a whole lot that can go wrong with this scenario. It's not like you're taking your money out with a HELOC loan and then trying to invest in the stock market or something where you can actually lose. In this scenario, there's not a lot that can go wrong. You have a secure piece of property. When you close on the property with your new buyer, they have every right to the property as long as they keep making payments. But you're also protected. If they aren't able to make payments anymore or they default, you still have the property. You can sell it again, and you have the down payment and monthly payments. So you're making this spread. Now, if all you want to do is invest in Belize because you like Belize and you want to come down for a few weeks a year, imagine now making 30,000 a year. So maybe half of that goes back to the bank for your bank loan. So you got about 15,000 a year to make 2 trips to Belize. And at first, all she was looking to do is to cover her room costs because that's what she wants to do. Use the place 2 weeks a year. She's talking about $7,000 out of the 15. So she's still got $8,000 to go toward flights and food and fun and beers at Secret Beach and all that kind of good stuff. This is one scenario. Now, another scenario would be if she comes back and says, Dennis, actually, I do want this to turn into something more. And then it's a completely different ball game. Then I say, okay, if you want to look at this and you say, in the next, say, 10 years or 15 years, I want this investment of mine to be somewhere where we can come down and make lots of memories with family, friends, and loved ones. Yes, right now, my personal use is just going to be a 1 or 2 weeks a year, but it's going to turn into a lot more. Then it's a completely different ball game. Then I would look at, okay, what would I do with this money today with my 150,000 US to get me there in the next 10 years? That could be, you know what I think you should do? I think you should take that 150 US and look for a piece of vacant land in a neighborhood that you love. It could be Secret Beach, South Ambergris Key, somewhere. Buy the land, sit on that land, put the other money, just leave the other money alone. And then in the next 10 years, when you go to retire, then take out a nice HELOC loan and completely build your home. But at least you secure the land at today's prices, because in almost all desirable parts of Ambergris Key, land prices have consistently gone up over the past 15 years. Right now, we have seen some softening, especially if we have a lot of inventory in the market. So, for example, I have some sellers right now in neighborhoods such as Palmyra Woods, Grand Mayan, Grand Belizean Estates. There's a lot of inventory in there, and so there's a little bit of competition going on with lowering of rates. But as you get closer to the beach, anywhere closer to the beach, whether that be Secret Beach side, west side of the island, or East Coast, prices tend to be holding steady or even bumping up a bit. So that's what I would suggest. There's a couple different scenarios you could pencil out, again, depending on your personal use now and your long-term goals. So what I'll do is I'll stop this video for now, just to give you a few things to think about. And then, of course, I'm going to be reaching out to this particular client and get a little bit more information from them. And depending on what they send back to me, I might make a part 2 of this video, maybe to clarify a few things or sort of fine tune what I recommend for them. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Hope to see you in Belize real soon.